Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. Don't adjust your dials. We're doing the same game. Cincinnati and St. Louis. This is the Sunday game. We've got Lance Lynn on the mound and Mike Leake for Cincinnati. And, here's a couple pitchers that, Mike Leake, he's had a great season. Here's a guy that has had good stuff and never really put it all together for a long period of time, but he's having one of his best, if not his best season of his career. And Lance Lynn struggled a little bit early, but it's coming on now. What are you looking at in this one?
Well, I'm looking at, the team concept thing to me. Just like Pittsburgh was able to take 4 out of 5 in the series with St. Louis, in what I said, this was a make-or-break series for Pittsburgh. Not that there's not a lot of ball left, but there is. But psychologically, Pittsburgh had to make a statement. Taking 3 out of 5 would have been okay, but they were at home. Taking 4 out of 5, that was huge. Had they taken that last one, 5 out of 5, that really would have just separated themselves and St. Louis could continue to spiral. I'm not sold on St. Louis getting that 13-0 victory on the getaway 5th game against Pittsburgh. That's going to be a cure-all, especially still without Yadier Molina behind the plate. Like you said, not only is a guy hitting .330, but he's also a guy that anchors that pitching staff, knows the way to call games, guns down anybody that tries to steal. He's just one of those assets you've got to have. That's why he's an all-star.
Yeah, no, with this pitching matchup, the way it looks, I don't know what you're going to be doing in this game, but the first inkling might be to say, hey, these two teams have been struggling scoring runs, both St. Louis and Cincinnati. And again, we're taping on Friday night, so we don't have the result of that one. And of course, there'll be the Saturday game. But heading into the Friday night series, Cincinnati had gone. They scored 4 runs in the getaway game against San Diego to salvage that series, in which they were just, they made some base running errors in that series too. It was not a good series for them. They looked like a team that was ready to come home from the West Coast, but they weren't scoring any runs. They went 2-1, 0-1, 1.
Terrible.
You can't do it. And you've got 2 hot pitchers. Are we looking at maybe a pitching duel here, or Lance Lynn, is he overachieving right now?
No, actually, his last 2 starts, he's been very solid. He did have a very tough stretch on the road, and I had gone against him a couple times on the road, and it paid dividends. But, again, this is a series that Cincinnati has to have. And, again, Friday night's game, to me, is a key game because Miller and Arroyo, that game could go either way. As you know, I like Cingrani on Saturday. This game here, again, this is a huge game for Cincinnati, a bigger game for Cincinnati because St. Louis still has a bunch of home games. But how about the Reds? If I told you they've played 18 of their last 21 games on the road prior to coming home, that's huge. They had a series on the road, then they came home for 3, and then they busted out to the West Coast. Now, my buddy Jimmy Dallas over there at KDWN, big Reds fan, he told me every year he cringes when they go to the West Coast. He goes, they are just a different team. They struggle. Doesn't matter how well they're playing. They go to the West Coast and they struggle.
Yeah. Well, if they don't get back, if they can pull this series out now that they had that long road trip and they're still in the hunt because St. Louis came back to the pack for them, this could be big for them moving forward. But you know what? It's your free pick. Let's make it official.
You got it. And again, Cincinnati, St. Louis, Great American Ballpark. This Cincinnati team, night and day, home and road. Still 4 games under 500 on the road, but at home, going into Friday night's game, 14 games over 500. I'm going to go with the Reds again. I really think the Reds have an outstanding chance if they win Friday, and again, we're taping before that, to sweep this series and get right back in the thick of things. Pittsburgh, of course, playing good, solid ball and doing what they need to do. But St. Louis is struggling. I thought St. Louis overachieved in the first half. Not that they're not a good, solid team, because they, up and down the lineup, have guys that are key, and there is no doubt. You've got Craig and Carpenter. They've been outstanding. Beltran's been dynamite. Holiday was banged up, but he's back in the lineup hitting okay. Freese has struggled a little bit. Jay and Cosma really struggling average-wise, but still, without Yadier Molina, that's a key loss. Not that Cincinnati has a lot of base runners. They've got Shin-Soo Choo, who has 12 stolen bases, leads the team, but they'll run. They'll pick and choose their opportunities, especially at home. See Dusty Baker. He'll get the wheels Cardinals in motion. A lot of hit and run, I think, in this game and in this contest. Mike Leake, I'm going to go with him. 10-4 on the year, a 2.59 ERA. His last 9 games, 7 of those 9 games, he's given up 2 earned runs or less. That's huge right there. He's 3-0 in his last 3 decisions. In his last 4 outings, he's had 1 no decision and then the 3 wins. And meanwhile, Lance Lynn, like I said, he has pitched better. He was very solid in the opening game against Pittsburgh, the extra inning loss where St. Louis dropped the first 4 in that series. But he has been pretty solid. His last 13 innings pitched, he has 13 strikeouts, 6 walks. He is still 2-4 in his last 6 decisions. But again, this is a team play. I'm not going to make it too complicated. I'm just going to simplify it and say, you know what? Cincinnati at home needs to take care of business. They find a way to gut out those 1-run wins at home. So I look for Cincinnati to take this game, take the game on Saturday as well. That is my free play on pregame.tv. Take the Reds, Mr. Steady, Mr. Consistent, Mike Leake. He'll shut down the Cardinals, and they'll take the Saturday and Sunday games.
Throw one more stat in there for you supporting your play. Lance Lynn, home ERA, 2.66. On the road, 5.20. And he's got a big, in daytime games, 4.74. So that bodes well for you in your Cincinnati Reds play.
There you go.
That's it. That's Ken's play for Sunday. Take the Cincinnati Reds. He says take them on Saturday as well. We're going to be back. One more play. We're going to go to Washington at Milwaukee on Sunday action. I'll have a free play for you up next, pregame.tv.